As a study coach, I get asked a lot of the same questions. How do I stop procrastinating? How do I study more efficiently and effectively? How can I combine my studies and a full-time job? I'm a parent, I'm an entrepreneur. How do I study? How do I beat procrastination? How do I manage my time? Stuff like that. In today's video, I'm going to answer the 5 most frequently asked questions that I get as a study coach after coaching hundreds of students, doing tons of one-on-one coaching calls, and hosting weekly group workshops where I get these questions. So let's get into it. My name is Tom Vorsler, also known as the Study Coach, and I help students, adults, professionals, and entrepreneurs with science-backed study time management and mindset methods in order to succeed in your academic or professional career without sacrificing your mental health. Today, answering the top 5 questions that I get asked. Number 1, how do I stop procrastination? Procrastination isn't necessarily a time problem, it's mostly an emotional problem. Let me break it down for you in the simplest terms. Usually we procrastinate because we're afraid of a potential future outcome. This could be fear of failing an exam, fear of not being good enough, feeling too dumb to actually start it, and therefore we procrastinate and we put it off. So we procrastinate because we feel it's uncomfortable, it's boring, it's hard, it's difficult, we are tired, we are afraid of something. So the trick isn't to just do it, it's to make it so simple that it's easy to get started. So first of all, after you've identified what is the thing that you're afraid of, you're going to break it down in such simple tasks that you don't feel afraid anymore of taking action on it. And what can help with this is eventually, if you have that one task, is that you're going to start working on it for only 5 minutes. This is what we call the 5-minute rule. And science shows that within those first 5 minutes, your levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, as well as your adrenaline that usually spikes when we need to do something hard or something new, they go down and you feel much more calm. And then it's easier to continue the task and not procrastinate on the whole process. So you need to simplify it and start on it for 5 minutes. Actually, there's an 80% chance that you're going to finish the task. Just wanted to put that in there. All right, so question number 2, just checking here real quick. What's the best way to study? Of course, there's many ways to study, but everything should come down to the core principles of active recall and spaced repetition. If you don't know what these are in detail, I will shortly explain them, but we have multiple videos on our channel that break them down in detail. Active recall means actively retrieving information from memory. You can do this and you can facilitate this by doing homework questions, open-ended questions, explaining things to other people, just like I'm doing right now. The second thing is spaced repetition, which means that you spread out your learning sessions over increasing intervals. For example, you study on the same day, 1 day later, 1 week later, 4 weeks later. If you combine these two, they are deadly. Like, they are so good. All of our students apply them and they get 90s, 80s, 100s across the board. Now, what you should not do is rereading your notes over and over, creating summaries and reading them over and over, or highlighting basically everything in your summary and then only reading over the highlighted part. This is called passive learning and it's not going to get you the results that you want. Number 3 is about not having motivation. I don't know how to start. Motivation is something that you cannot rely on. Some days you feel super motivated and inspired, and the days that you are not are the most important days because you'll most likely have more days that you are having problems with motivation than that you are feeling super motivated, right? So what you need to create systems that help you when you are motivated, but most importantly, when you are not motivated. So what can help with this is creating routines, morning routines that get you into the right state of mind. You can do this by setting daily action points, visualizing the tasks that you are going to do. You can do some breath work. You can do anything like plan the day, which will probably already get you into action mode, which makes it easier to start. You have to understand that motivation comes after taking action. So the problem that I see a lot of people make is that they don't do anything. And that is the problem. You have to get the thing going, the snowball going, and then it becomes bigger and bigger. That's the same with motivation. So action creates motivation, creates momentum, fuels the motivation, and you take more action. Question number 4 that I get from a lot of working professionals and entrepreneurs is, okay, how do I combine my study next to a full-time job? The thing is, all of this works also when you have a full-time job or you are an entrepreneur. What I want you to focus on is that you are becoming more intentional with what you're doing. So you don't need 8 hours of focused work or focused study time. What you need is to prioritize the 20% of material that's going to get you the 80% of the results, also called the Pareto principle, and then focus on that with shorter time focused intervals. So that means as soon as you come home, instead of diving right into your studies, give yourself a break first, maybe do some exercise, grab dinner, then spend 1 or 2 hours dedicated to your studies. You'll probably feel way more focused, you have way more concentration, and if you then implement everything that we taught you in step 2, you should be good. If this is something that you struggle with as a full-time working professional doing courses on the side, feel free to book a free consultation call. The link is in my description, and then we can talk and see if we can potentially help you out with this. Number 5 is, what if I feel that I'm too late or too far behind? This is such a common feeling, but this is also not true, right? We need to stop comparing ourselves with other people and therefore creating an imaginary impossible version of ourselves, which is hard to reach in that moment, because right now we're here and we want to go here, but before we get there we need to take smaller baby steps. So you're not behind, you're just starting at a different point in time, and you still have enough time to get there. To give you an idea, some of my most successful students that I worked with, they are 52, 58 and even 61, and they still made a decision to get better in their time management, in their learning methods, and to stop procrastination. Yes, they also deal with social media distractions, but they made a decision that it's time to let that go. So if you're listening to this while you're 18 or 19, know that right now is a perfect timing to get started on this. Just imagine that you were a bit older and you're trying to figure this out. Well, you can save yourself up to 30, 40 years at this exact moment. If you're older, it's also never too late. You can always learn. So be welcome. Mostly for the youngsters, don't be afraid that you're behind. You're just at the right time if you make a conscious decision. Now, if you found these helpful and you want me to do more of those frequently answered questions, then let me know in the comments what was most useful for you. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe such that the channel grows. We don't run any ads to this, so everything is organically. And if you need more help, again, feel free to reach out via the link in the description or text me on Instagram and we will see what we can do for you. Wish you an amazing day and see you next week.